Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a horror movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie Pretty Dead. Now, Pretty Dead is a zombie movie with a little bit of a difference. First of all, it's a found footage film, or kind of recovered footage film, I guess you'd probably more call it. And it basically takes the focus off the victims of a zombie apocalypse and actually focuses on someone actually sort of turning into a zombie themselves. And basically it focuses on a character played by an actress called Oates, and she's a medical student, trainee doctor, who at a party at the beginning of the movie takes cocaine and basically has some kind of bad reaction to it, and for some reason ultimately ends up turning her into a kind of zombie like creature ultimately, and she slowly starts to develop a taste for raw meat, and obviously then craving human flesh. And she's got this at the beginning of the movie the boyfriend proposed and everything, so it's following their relationship, and actually slowly ultimately degenerates into a killer ultimately. And she's obviously apprehended, and the doctors obviously write it off as she's schizophrenic, but obviously she's got some decay on her face and stuff. They just pretty much write it off ultimately. So it's an interesting premise. Now, a couple of negative points. It's a very low budget movie, and it does show on screen, and I have to say it starts quite weakly. When you first see the first scene you see is basically a party scene, and which is where she takes the cocaine, and I have to say the acting in that specific scene isn't very good, and it just seems very much overacting. But I have to say the rest of the movie, the acting is probably a lot better, particularly from Oates as the main character, who is pretty decent in the role and really sells it. Now, it does have a cheap feel to it. The only other major issue I had with it is, well, she relatively early on, she starts realizing something's going wrong. She's she's craving raw bacon, and if you're working in the medical profession, I don't know, it just seems to me that alarm bells, they just accept it, and she's drinking human fat and stuff, and her boyfriend's totally okay with it, or pretty much anyway. I don't know if I just quite bought that, to be honest, especially for someone who was working in the medical profession, that they'd be so calm and very accepting of it. Obviously, as things progress, and obviously that changes. But right at the beginning, I don't know, it would seem, you'd panic, I think, and desperately search for help, but they just take it upon themselves and just deal with it, which I thought was a bit weak in the script area. But the good points for the low budget film, I think it's a really, aside from that the first scene or so, it's actually quite well acted, and they really do sell you on the role. They sell you on their relationship as as partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, and so you buy into the character, and I think this film really stands on the performance of Oates, because she's really good in the role, and obviously I think will probably be one to watch. And it's a different take on the found footage film in regards to, it seems a bit more natural in certain aspects. Basically, I don't know, there's more reasons for them to be filming stuff, I guess. If that makes sense, they're trying to document it as it progresses. So in a way, you feel there's probably more reasons for them to actually be videoing a lot of this stuff. So it makes it, believable to a certain degree. I would like to say it does have a cheap feel to it, and obviously it is a cheap film, so I can't hold it against it too much. The makeup as she becomes more zombified is, it's okay, but it's nothing special. There's a couple of sound effects which I didn't think were particularly good either, I've got to say. But I'm picking holes here. Overall, it's it's an intelligent film. It's for the most part well directed and well written. I have a couple of issues with it. I know it's fairly well regarded. I'd say I maybe have a couple of more issues with it than some people, but I still think it's overall a pretty decent film. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. It's worth checking out if you like a zombie film with a bit of a difference, a bit more intelligence to it. Have you seen it? Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave me a comment. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.